By the way, I really like your hat.
Thank you.
I want to like take that off your head and take it from you. I'm like, damn, that looks good.
I got it in Panama City. So if you want one,
Proactive, dude.
you gotta go fly down there.
Yeah, that's an awesome hat.
Thank you. Is that a Pebble hat you got?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet. Like it.
If I had
All right,
any,
guys. We're live. Happy Tuesday. Today we'll be doing just general Q&A. So if you guys have questions from any of the webinars we've done with Jesse at Pebble, you can go ahead and ask those questions. And then any other like land related questions or CRM questions, feel free to let them go.
yeah.
But I should be showing comments on the screen, but also we'll have the live chat as well. But guys, this is the final webinar to the Land Insights Pebble webinar. So if you guys haven't seen any of those webinars yet, they're actually on our past live channel inside both Pebble and Sumner's YouTube. So if you missed any of those, just go in the live section of YouTube and you'll be able to watch all of those other webinars that we did. But we went over basically the entire business from start to finish using both products. So there's a lot of valuable information we dropped in there. So I do recommend you guys check those out if you haven't already. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it open to general Q&A. So go ahead and drop your questions.
I just DM'd a couple people to come in and ask questions as well. Yeah, so if you have any questions, throw them in here. It's a great time to interact with us. And yeah, and you know what? We're going to try to package this a little bit better for you guys on the YouTube channel too. So once this is all recorded, we'll have this a lot more easier to find on our YouTube channel as well. So, come on.
Let's do with you, Jesse.
Nothing much. Yeah, we're working with some really interesting people in the space, that are also interested in land. We're working in the energy space as well now, and it's a very, very interesting space. So we're getting into a little bit of that. Other than that, nothing much. We've launched a new podcast, so it's called the Wholesaling Secrets Podcast. If you're interested in checking that out, I've got a newsletter. If anybody cares for it, I get a chance to hop on a lot of the calls with people like Ryland, whoever, and I'm like, man, I need to share some of the things I hear. So it's no original thoughts. I'm just literally giving credit to some people who have said certain things and I think are useful. So if you're interested, it's called I'm Horrible at Business. It's at Substack. So I'm horrible at business.substack.com. And I'm 40 today. So there you go. I've got a bunch of stuff.
Birthday. You don't look a day over 35. You got good genetics.
Let me show you my grays coming in there.
Well, happy birthday. You got any plans for the day?
Yeah, I'm off of this. I did the 75 hard challenge. Today's my last day too. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but 2 workouts a day, following a strict diet. I do only half a gallon of water because I can't do a full gallon. Read 10 pages. I'm done. So I can eat whatever the F I want. I can have carbs and sugar tonight. I haven't had that for 2.5 months, so I'm ready. I'm ready to devour that.
Props to you, man. 75 hard's no joke. I think it lasted like a week last year. I'm trying to get everybody to do it. I was like, screw this.
Yeah, it's
just the 2 workouts part of it. You have to be outside for one of them, right?
I feel like I cheat because I walk to the gym both ways. So it's 45 minutes. But I did sprain my ankle like midway and I couldn't. So I was on crutches. I had to do something. So yeah, it was horrible. Thanks, guys. Diane, good to see you. Guys, if you have a question, Ed, good to see you as well. So again, if you have questions, please throw it in the chat. Would love to hear. Here we go. I have a free list from Land Insights, and I want to import that into Pebble. It's for one state, but has multiple counties. Where do I find the FIPS code on the spreadsheet? Okay, so let me answer this one. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryland, I don't think Land Insights provides the FIPS code. Now, it'd be awesome, and I'm going to put it to a feature request for you guys. But if you can't get the FIPS code, Carolyn, what I would do, the next thing I would do is just throw it into ChatGPT and just say, hey, on column Z, can you give me the FIPS code for the county that is in column whatever and the state in column whatever, and it should be able to do that for you. If you're not working with a lot of counties, you can do one of two things. You can manually put it in. You can sort it by the county and just enter it once and drag it. Or the other thing is to just separate into a few different files and bring it into Pebble as separate campaigns. So yeah, great question. Great question. I can't. Oh, here we are. Okay. Cheryl says, how would you, I hope that's helpful, Carolyn. How would you evaluate possible mineral and gas rights or not at all? Seller says he owns rights, but it's New York State, a non-drilling state. Rylan, any insights on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hit and miss in a lot of places. For the most part, the deals we're doing, we don't own the mineral or gas rights. The only time it really becomes important is when you're in the areas where they are drilling. So I think in the past, like West Virginia was an important one to note. Pennsylvania, I believe, as well. I would just keep an eye out, like, for where they're actively like establishing mineral rights and actually using them. But for the most part, like, not a lot of people actually own them. If they do, that can be a benefit. Like I've sold deals in Pennsylvania before where we had OGM rights, oil, gas, mineral rights. And it did increase the value of the land for that area specifically. But for the most part, it really doesn't matter. And it can be hard to track that down from the previous deeds. Like, you don't actually know who owns the rights. So New York, I mean, I would do a little more research. I'm not super familiar with OGM rights, especially in the specific area you're in. But if you think it's a non-drilling state, then it's going to be no big deal at the end of the day. So I'm never worried about it. We honestly don't even really do any due diligence on it unless there is an area we worked on in the past where it was important. But for the most part in the US, it's kind of a gray area and nobody really cares.
Here we go. Hey, Rylan, when you send out texts, is your team only calling someone when they say yes to a price or a price range?
Yes. So we are at a very high scale. I can't remember the number of texts we're sending out a month. It's over 500,000. It might be over 600,000. Wait, no, we actually just increased 5,000 texts a day. So we're nearing 700,000 texts per month that we're sending out. And at that scale, you have to have a qualification process. You can't just call a cold lead that responds to your text message. You got to qualify them in your text campaigns with price. So basically we say, hey, do you want to sell your land? They say yes. Like, okay, we can offer you this amount. What do you think? If they say yes, then we'll call them. But if they don't respond or they counter like $1 million higher than what our offer is, then they're not getting pushed to our CRM. So basically the process is ask if they want to sell, offer a price. If they accept it or they're like somewhere in the range, then we'll push it to the CRM and then we'll call them inside the CRM.
Yep. Sissy Green asks, does the LIA program have sessions, lessons on AI? I've got a follow-up question after that. So I'm going to let Ryan take over on this one.
Yeah, there's content inside the LIA program on leveraging AI. There's content on leveraging Land Insights. Land Insights also has a course on our product, and it's basically like a mini educational course so that you're following the business model correctly. Because Land Insights in itself it's a business model that's working for us, and we just built the product around that business model. So LIA and Land Insights, they both have lessons on AI and how to leverage it. And then in addition to that, we have like the Discord and we have the weekly coaching calls where we'll go over everything we're learning in the business. But I mean, AI, it's a broad subject. So it can be a simple or it could be leveraging like AI scrubs. So there's a lot to it.
I have a question for you guys. This is a very interesting area, so do you guys feel like there's an area where AI can facilitate with your processes? I'd like to hear that with your systems, with managing leads. data. What would you like to see? So throw that in the chat, and I'd like to see that. That'd be very insightful. Rylan, what's your workflow for texting? Sounds like you make an offer and negotiate before sending to Pebble or your CRM. How do you track all of the other leads that don't make it to an accepted offer?
So this is becoming more of like a launch control thing. So Land Insights, we filmed the whole webinar series with launch control. So I recommend watching that if you guys have a lot of these questions. We went pretty in depth on my entire process. So I would go watch those on YouTube. They're in just the past YouTube lives as well. But I went over my entire business process and basically the strategy for that. But like I said, make an offer. If they accept it, push it. If they don't, then they're either getting pushed out or we're asking how much they want to sell for. If it's somewhere in our ballpark, then we'll push to the CRM. So it's super simple, really not a lot to it, not a lot of crazy strategy to it. You can't really scale a crazy strategy. So we try to keep it as simple as possible so that we can push out more messages.
Yeah.
And then G-Chan, I don't know how to.
GS-Chan there.
GS-Chan, don't you run out of leads messaging 500,000 people a month? So we have a massive list. There's close to 3,000 counties in the US. So there's a lot to choose from. There's a lot of high demand counties out there. And then we're also sending a lot of follow-ups as well. So we hit a lot of like a large acreage band. As long as it's in our price range, we usually go after properties that are worth $40,000 or more. So as long as it meets that criteria and it's in a high demand market, we'll hit it. So there's a big list of areas we're targeting throughout the US, multiple states. And then we're also sending recurring text messages. So just follow up text messages when the texting platforms allow us to do that. So no, we don't run out. There's a lot to go after in the US. So it just comes down to, do you have unlimited data, first of all, because that is a lot of data. So make sure you have unlimited data. Land Insights has unlimited data. So you just pay $4,500 a year for that data, and you can export as many records as you want. But if you were using an a la carte data system like DataTree, for example, you'd be paying per record, which adds up, and that can be tens of thousands of dollars. So just make sure you have an unlimited data platform in order to get that amount of people. And then also cheap skip tracing. That's super important. Land Insights, we have 2 cents per skip, no minimums required. So it's very, very, very cheap. If you guys have experienced using skip tracing services in the past, Land Insights, we don't make any money from it. So we're just passing on the deal to everybody that joins. So those are the 2 benefits. Just make sure you have unlimited data and cheap skip tracing, and you'll keep those expenses low, and that allows you to scale from there.
Rylan, can you reiterate what does it mean by unlimited data versus something like paying per record with DataTree?
Yeah, so you obviously need property information in order to target landowners to buy land from them.
Mm-hmm.
So in DataTree, for example, like they'll have a plan that might be 7 cents per record, and a record is just that information. So the land owner's information, their mailing address, the property acreage, all that information, they'll charge like 7-9 cents a record.
Yep.
And you can do that math. If you're sending 500,000 texts to new people per month, you do that math, it's very expensive. So it's absolutely necessary, in my opinion, to have unlimited data, some type of deal, because a la carte exports, paper record, it's very, very expensive.
Got you.
And surprisingly enough, before I knew there was like any unlimited ownership deals in this space, I was paying per record and eating that cost. And that was my biggest expense, because I was just going through DataTree and paying per record. And then I was paying a super expensive skip trace service at the time as well. And those 2 expenses were just eating away at my business. We were still doing well,
yeah,
but there's definitely ways to cut costs. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Cheryl asks, Ed here asks, does Land Insights have videos or other training on how to do market research, etc.?
Yeah, we go very deep. We go from the basics to strategy. So I filmed the course when we released market research back in 2023. I filmed a very in-depth course on the basics, and then Ari with Land Insights, he's gone even deeper and taught some crazy strategies in there. Ari is a market research G. Like he knows the ins and outs of every strategy possible. And he did the first webinar with Pebble,
Yep.
going over market research. So I recommend you guys check that out for a little bit of context. And then, man, our course goes in depth. It's pretty crazy.
Cheryl asks, can we go over the best filters for Land Insights market research, zip codes, etc.?
Yeah. So what exactly are you looking for? You're looking to find the best zip codes or the best counties, Cheryl? I just have a follow-up question for you so I can go a little more in depth.
Mm-hmm. Ed, what's you guys doing? Oh, here we go. Looks like Ed's answer got answered, or question got answered by Ari there. Aren't we just all competing against each other? Same sellers? Are you guys just creating more competitors? Not at all. Everyone has a different strategy. And honestly, everyone looks through a different perspective. If you join, I'll show you why that is. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, so Ari pretty much nailed it on the head there. Ed, I think you're thinking in the incorrect way here. It's like Land Insights. So we have hundreds of thousands of data points for market trends that are updated weekly. So these markets are always trending, and there's so many different data points that you can analyze. So somebody who's inexperienced on the product on market research, they're just going to go off of sell-through rate and choose the highest sell-through rate county in a certain state, right? That would make it competitive. But you got to go deeper, and you have to follow our educational content and understand how to go deeper than that. There's statistics like Gini Index. There's statistics like days on market. There's price analysis. It goes many ways. There's pending sell-through rate. You can analyze pending trends. So there's so many different ways you can analyze this data set, and you can pair it with ChatGPT if you want to see like what kind of market trends are happening out there. Maybe a new company just moved to this county and you think it's going to create more demand. In my experience, like a Toyota manufacturer moving to a new county and opening a new factory, that blows up markets. And you might see like a high sell-through rate, but you don't really understand why it is a high sell-through rate. If you discovered that a Toyota manufacturer just put a factory out there with ChatGPT or something, just a quick query, then you would be like, okay, I really like this spot. Or you can see those trends before they're happening. Maybe you see that pending sell-through rate is going is very high compared to the 6-month or the 12-month trend. And when I say sell-through rate, that's basically the rate at which properties sell compared to what's listed on the market right now. So that shows us how much demand there is for land in a certain amount of time. So if there's a really high sell-through rate, that means properties are flying off the shelves and there's not enough inventory to keep up with that. So if you compare trends with a little bit of analysis, you're going to go deeper than everybody else. But yeah, like it's a massive competitive advantage to have access to this data set. And it's a massive competitive advantage to understand how to analyze that data set. If you go deep, you do serious statistical analysis, compare your results to different areas, to different counties, zip codes, then you can find these markets that nobody else is even thinking of. The way we did business back in 2020, 2021, we would just go after the metros that have a growing population. But in reality, there's tons of investors that just live in those areas and they understand there's demand out there and they're doing the same deals as you. Whereas Land Insights, you can go into any market and have a competitive edge with that data set. And you can see a trend in a micropolitan market that nobody's thinking about that's outside of metro. It's in a micropolitan market. So micropolitan market is more like a township or maybe a smaller city. you can analyze trends in those areas and have less competition. And then in addition to that, what we do is we'll find markets where we don't think anybody else is working, and then we'll go test it. We'll go send out a text campaign, see what our responses were from sellers, see if they liked our pricing, or if they're saying, hey, somebody else offered way more than this multiple times. Like, that's going to tell us maybe that's not a good market. But if you can test it and see people are accepting your offers, people are responding to your text messages, that's a good sign that you can go deeper on that market. Maybe send a mail campaign, maybe cold call, maybe send an email campaign. So there's different ways to do it. And then also, like, if you're not scrubbing your data, if you're not removing landlocked properties, you're not removing wetlands and stuff, like, you're losing out. So it's very important this day and age that you are removing these landlocked properties and all these different filters we're using inside Land Insights that we went over in the previous webinars. Okay, so Cheryl had a follow-up. She said either both zip codes. So the strategy I like to do, it's like a pyramid strategy. So with market research, I always start in one state, right? So data is going to be different state by state. So I like to compare my results within a state. So I'll start at the state level and I'll analyze both sell-through rate. So I'll analyze pending sell-through rate, I'll analyze 6 month, and I'll analyze 12 months. So that's telling us like what the trend is over time. So you'll see like, oh, there's a 10% pending sell-through rate, there's a 60% 6 month, and 150% 1 year. That's telling us that there's pretty good demand there. And basically, we're going to compare our results by county inside that state. And maybe I'll come up with my top 3 or 4 counties in that area. And then after that, we're going for more of the honey hole approach. So we have like 3 or 4 counties we think have really high sell-through rate. You can also look at days on market and rank based on that. And then we're going to go into the zip codes. So this is a really good strategy if you're trying to do micro mailers and be very effective with that. Is, okay, I found 4 really high demand counties. Now let's go find the highest demand zip codes inside each one of those counties, and we can market those. And then we can remove all the zip codes that don't have as much demand, so that we're nailing the highest demand zip codes in the highest demand counties. So we're stacking up the highest demand areas, because what you'll see is sometimes zip codes make up, certain zip codes in a county make up for all the demand in that area. And then others, there's just no activity at all. So it might just be the small region that everybody wants land in that you can target, you can pick and choose it, rather than marketing to the whole county and hitting the area that might be lesser demand. So that's a really good strategy for your micro mailers. And it's very repeatable and very scalable if you're mailing. So let's say you're sending like 10,000 mailers per month. You can easily scale that process up and just do the zip code approach. So start at the county level and then get your high demand zip codes out of that and market to those. And what I've realized in the past is zip codes, they're very easy to price, because the way they created zip codes was the Postal Service. They created these routes that were most optimized so that they can go from their post office and hit every single area in this region. So obviously there's the county level, but they created zip codes so that it was advantageous for them to easily mail to everybody in this area. So all these lines, that's how they were created, they took into account topography, they took into account population. So I've correlated that, and it's pretty easy to price based on zip codes because they optimized it that way. But I think days on market is slept on, in my opinion. I don't think enough people are using it, and I do recommend using it. So average days on market, you can see it over the last year. You can see it over 6 months. Based on all the properties that sold in the area you're looking at, then based on that, all those properties sold, we take the average days on market for them to sell from listing to sold, we take that average so that you can see that. So if you have a decent sample size in your data set, you can also track demand from that. It's like, okay, there's high sell-through rate, but let's see how quickly these properties are selling. Maybe they're taking longer to sell in the market. But if you see high sell-through rate and high days on market, then it's just dual authentication, basically, that there's high demand there.
I think we have one more question here for now. Are you doing any manual scrubbing or just removing landlocked duplicates, vacant land, only in AI? Skip then text?
So are you doing manual or just scrubbing landlocked duplicate? Yep. So I'm not doing any manual scrubbing. It would be, I mean, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I think it's impossible to, at my scale, to manually scrub. And the reason why we created the AI vacant land layers, the AI landlocked scrubbing, the duplication, was so that you could bring it to the next level. We were manually scrubbing before Land Insights existed. And that's what gave us the idea, like, oh, let's just create an AI tool to remove those. So it doesn't make sense to manually scrub anymore. I wanted to cut that expense out of my business. There's a delay between the time you export and when those scrubs are ready. You have to manage a person to do that manual scrubbing. And at my scale, it would be dozens of employees manually scrubbing to keep up with my numbers. And that just doesn't make sense. That adds up. It's expensive and there's a time delay. So no, all we do is we just pair all those filters: landlocked, wetland, flood zone, duplicates, vacant land only, AI, and then we just skip it and text it. And that can all be done very, very quickly. Rinse and repeat. That's what we're doing every single day. We're going through that process every single day. It doesn't take that much time. And what I noticed from the data sets that we compared our results to is about 45% of your data set is removed with all those filters tagged up. So 45% of your data set, if you're not doing any of this scrubbing, is just being wasted, in my opinion, because they're going to properties that it doesn't make sense to market to because they're worthless, in my opinion. Some of them you might be able to make a deal out of, but our whole goal as a marketer is we want to be targeting properties that we would actually buy. We don't want to be targeting properties that has no road access. We don't want to be targeting stuff that's completely in a flood zone. It doesn't make sense. And we struggle with this in the early days of our business before any of this existed. It's frustrating if you guys have experienced this. You get a lead, you get all excited, and then you talk to them on the phone for an hour, and then you actually go look at the property and it's worthless, so you just wasted all that time. So scrubbing is important, and AI scrubbing, like, all we're doing is AI scrubbing. We're not doing any manually scrubbing. But if you wanted to manually scrub, you can do it in Land Insights. We give that option. We've had people request that, but I only recommend it if you're really trying to dive deep. In my opinion, if you're trying to scale up, it's just not worth it to manually scrub. So just use the AI, leverage the AI. Lightning Land Capital said you can exclude a zip code too. Exclude the lakefront zip code. Yeah, you can do tons of exclusions inside Land Insights. You can remove zip codes. You can remove polygons. So let's say you export an entire county and you don't like certain zip codes in that. You can just click exclude this zip code, or you can do exclude this polygon. For all the areas you don't like. Maybe it's just a really hilly area, or maybe, it's like lakefront too, and you wanted a price differently for lakefront. You can exclude those out or include them. Love the questions, guys. Keep them coming. Tyler asks, when creating your offer prices, are offering the same offer percentage throughout the entire data set, or are you increasing the offer percentage as the acreage increases to not have such a huge spread? So my business, we have a comper that comps properties as they come in. So all of our texting, it's neutral. So we'll just send a text, hey, do you want to sell? We don't have an offer that we made yet before we send out that message. If they say yes, then our comper is going to look at that actual property and come up with an offer on that. So in terms of offer percentage, yes, we'll increase our offer percentage on something that's worth $1 million. So let's say there's a property that's worth $40,000 and a property that's worth $1 million. On the $40,000 property, we're probably going to offer like 20 grand or maybe a little less. But on the $1 million property, we might offer 700,000 because there's a $300,000 spread on that deal. Whereas the $40,000 deal, that's just a $20,000 spread. So we will increase our offer percentage. So yes, on higher valued properties, we'll make that increase. Yeah, Ari just jumped in. He said, we do have many users manually scrub, subdivide, and hyper-focused marketing where AI mislabels some properties.
Yep. Can Land Insights sort for unacceptable topographical steep hill, for example, not buildable?
Yes, so we're actually releasing this. So this is being released. Ari, do you have the release date? You want to put that in the comments? It's either this week or next week we're releasing it. But yeah, you'll be able to scrub. So we're going to have two options. We'll have an option to scrub a certain area has this slope. So Ari just said this week we're releasing the slope scrub. So there's going to be two options, like one like a manual criteria, and then the other one's just going to be a click of a button, remove the steep properties. So we've already done the math of the data set, and we came up with a rule like, oh, this slope on this amount of area in this data set is probably not buildable. So we did the math for you, but you can also toy with it yourself, and you can set your own criteria. And basically that criteria is going to be remove stuff that has a slope above 20% with a slope above 20% and an area of 50% of your property. You can do something like that. So you'll have the option to toy with it, and then just the option to do the math that we already did for you guys. So yep, we'll be able to remove bad topography. And the data set's crazy. The math behind all of it, it's amazing what we developed. We put in a crazy accurate LiDAR data set into our overlay, and then all the math's been done already. And Kyle, Sumner, and I, we were looking over that data last week, and it's super, super accurate. So I'm excited to release this. I think this opens the doors for a lot of those steep terrain areas that are more difficult to price. If we can export stuff that's flat and not steep, then it's going to be easier to price it if we just bring in comps that are also flat. So I'm excited about it. I'm going to actually revamp our data exporting process in our business with this new scrub once it comes out. And we're going to hit a ton of new markets that we've been wanting to hit, but we can't because it's too hard to price and it's too steep. So since we have this tool now, yeah, I'm going through the entire business and re-exporting everything since we're even more accurate. Looks like Ed's hyped. Topo sort is huge. Excellent, guys. Appreciate it, Ed. Excited to release it to you guys.
Always good to see you, Ed.
All right, guys. Keep the questions coming. What time is it over there, Jesse?
It is 12:36 in the afternoon here. So
okay, on same time zone.
Yep. Nice to see you, 40-year-old Jesse. Thanks for reminding me.
Jesse, words of advice for your 30s.
I don't know. I don't have any words of advice for your 30s. Let me think on that one. That's my word of advice. I don't know.
I guess my question would be, how are your 30s different than your 20s?
Oh, for me, I mean, it's pretty night and day. I came from a totally different world. I mean, I come from a creative, artistic background, and then now I'm in the world of business. So for me, it's probably not a lot of people will go through the same path I did. So that's what I would say. Dude, I don't know, man. How old are you, Ryland?
I'm 24.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes when I think about when I was 24, it's just like, what the was I doing? A lot of you guys don't know I come from a dance background. I was a street dancer. I traveled the world, battled, trained, ran workshops, hosted events out here. I did get a lot of my entrepreneurial, start from that world. But yeah, it was a total different world. So
I feel like the best business people, there's two traits they have. One trait is they did something so physically intense. And that just built the drive in their mind. And then another trait people have is like some type of creative outlet that they had.
Yeah.
So for you, that was dancing and coming up with creative dancing.
Yeah.
But like, what did you have something that like gave you drive, or like something that you consistently worked on? Was that dance?
It did, but then I got to explore a lot of like organizing events, running workshops, flying people around, and managing all of that. And then I started up the dance clubs here and some of the foundations out here, and I got involved quite heavily in there. Yeah, I don't know. I was a bit of a hustler when I grew up. I was kept sheltered pretty harshly when I was growing up, so I resorted to eBay, started selling stuff. I couldn't go anywhere. So that's where my roots came from.
Yeah.
Trapped in the house and selling stuff on eBay that I shouldn't have been selling. But there you go.
That's usually a start, is just some type of arbitrage.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was flipping surfboards. I didn't know anything about business. I was just an engineer.
Yeah.
And I just started flipping surfboards in my hometown.
That's awesome.
And then once I realized, you can make money from buying assets low and selling them high, I was like, what's next? What's the next highest thing? It was like cars, and then it became land.
Now Earth.
But one of the guys, so I own the land house in Scottsdale. There's a few other land investors here. One of the guys, Corbin, in the house, he's newer to land, but he's crushing right now. He would sell firewood in his hometown. Yeah.
Well, so if you know Pete,
arbitraging firewood.
Yeah, Pete Nuksani was selling Legos. He was flipping Legos. He was going to garage sales, picking up Legos and washing them and in machines and packing them and selling them.
Dude, those things are expensive now. There's I looked up a couple sets I have when I was a kid.
Yeah.
The increase in value is nuts on those.
Yeah. Even the new sets are pricey anyways. Tyler asked, dumb question. Do you think there's any opportunity to market to only landlocked properties and fix the easement issues? Curious if that's anyone's need. I always say, man, if there's a barrier to something, there's opportunity there that filters a lot of people out. So if you can figure out some messy properties, you can find yourself in a sort of an interesting situation. But Ryland, technically, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible to do it through our platform. I wouldn't advise it just because I've dealt with multiple easement properties in the past, and it always causes issues. There definitely is an opportunity to make money from it, but if you're going to do it, make sure it's on super, super expensive properties. Like if you're creating an access easement to $1 million property, it's probably worth it. But if you're creating an access easement to a $30,000 property, no, not worth your time, because you're going to end up acquiring legal fees. You're going to have to get a survey. You need to do a bunch of deed research to even see if there's a possible deal to be had. You have to work with the neighbors to get access to that easement. You have to pay the neighbors. So it's not worth the hassle unless it's a massive deal. But if you're doing this for $100,000 property, no, nah, it's not worth it in my opinion. But if you're doing $1 million deals, yes. There's tons of people in the space that do this. I know a lot of people that do it in Texas, South Carolina. There's some type of easement law, I believe. Don't take my word for it. Don't take this as legal advice, but there's a law that allows every property to have access, but you have to go through some sort of process to get it. So there is money to be made. Just make sure you're targeting like very expensive areas so that you can cash out when you make that happen. But the cheaper stuff, not worth it. Diana said, "Be happy for every you get when you do not get to continue. You're still here." I love it. Rylan, when someone responds with their price, does your comper double check and then you send your price to see if they'll accept or just move on? So they get notes from the conversation we had. So the comper is going to see the notes of the conversation that happened. So if we said, "Hey, do you want to sell?" and they responded, "Oh, I want to sell for $1 million," the comper is going to see that. And if the land's worth $100,000, she's just not even going to comp it. She's going to say like, drop it. So she'll see notes on how that conversation went. And then again, we don't price anything up front for our texting strategy. It's all on the spot. When somebody wants an offer, we'll make it. Ed said, "Tyler, check out laws in Florida. Florida laws can help you with landlocked." Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff out there in different states that make it easy for some areas to get these approved. But at the end of the day, you still have to get a survey. You still have to work with attorneys. It's a pain in the ass. Jesse, do you have any YouTube videos of you dancing?
I guess you could dig up some. It's yeah, if you type in, I can't believe I'm telling you guys this. If you type in Jaekwong, you might be able to find some still left. Jaekwong, Jaekwong, and type in something like battle or judge or something like that. You know, there must be. It was like pre the YouTube social media days, so. How embarrassing that I'm actually sharing this live with you guys. So I did once do a short about talking about this a while back. Anyways.
Jaekwong?
Yeah, Kwong, all one word. Yep.
I can't find anything.
No?
Dang it.
All right, good. Oh, man. All right. Any other questions here?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Funk at first sight mix.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, a long time ago. Yep.
Hold on, guys. I'm about to share it.
Oh, man. That's so funny. I, at that point, this was 20 years ago. And I had just finished exams. I went to train with somebody out in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And I didn't know where the heck that was. And there you go. And this was my first battle, I think. So it's a dance style called popping that I do. But yeah, you can see. I went to university like this, dressed like this. And I hate to, nothing wrong with fashion, but let's just say I wasn't really popular in business school to partner with.
Is that a do-rag?
Yep, I had do-rags. I had the long tees. Yeah, right, Ed. I rolled my ankle out just a few weeks ago, and I can't even I couldn't even walk. So yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
Oh man.
Noah, what's good, man? That was a longtime friend of mine.
All right,
guys.
questions?
Any more questions? I'm about to to finish up here.
Well, if there aren't any other questions, I'm sure you guys at Land Insights, they can hop on a call with you guys. You can certainly hop on a call with us if you have any questions. We also have live sessions. If you head over to pebblerei.com, under resources on the left, it says Learn Pebble. There are live sessions there. You can join weekly. I've got one tomorrow. So if you want to join me, it'll be this slightly before this time, answering questions. But yeah, we're always here.
Yeah, guys. And if you missed any of the webinar, feel free to go back through the YouTube channels and check those out. And then anybody who wants to join Land Insights, landinsights.co/apply. You'll just hop on a demo call. We'll give you 1,000 plus free hot leads that you can go market to straight out of our platform. So we'll demo the product. We'll show you every bit of the tools we have access to. And to anybody watching this right now, if you guys sign up from the demo call, we'll give you 15,000 free credits. That's $150 that you can use on skip tracing or data exports. So guys, check it out. Book a demo call. Maybe you aren't familiar with the product yet, or you want to buy the product. landinsights.co/apply, and yeah, you'll meet with one of our guys, and we'll show you everything.
Oh, I think we got some delayed questions. That's probably
DJ, one last question. Sorry, wasn't understanding. You say, hey, you want to sell? They say yes, 200,000. Your company sees it's worth 150,000. Do you go back and say you can offer 120 or something like that? Yeah, we'll go back and make an offer if it's that close and see what happens. But if it was a ridiculous price, then we sometimes won't even respond. But if it was somewhere in the ballpark, we'll just make a counter offer and see what they say. All right, guys. Jesse, any parting words?
Nope. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate you guys at Land Insights for putting this together as well. And yeah, we'll be seeing all you guys around.
All right. Appreciate it, Jesse. Have a good one. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Ryan. See you, everybody.
Yeah.